You see, when we speak about God's timing, we are not talking about the hours on a clock, the days on a calendar, or the neat little boxes in which we try to arrange our lives. God does not wear a wristwatch. He moves in seasons, in rhythms, in tides of purpose that are far grander than our human schedules. And yet, when his timing comes, it is always perfect. Never too early, never too late. The moments he ordains arrive with a precision that defies our logic, but if we are attentive, we will recognize them not by the tick of a second hand, but by the undeniable sense that this is right. In love, this timing becomes even more mysterious. You may be wondering why the person you have prayed for has not appeared yet, or why the one who is meant for you has not spoken what is in their heart. The answer is not that God has forgotten you, nor that he is keeping something from you out of cruelty. It is that he is aligning the threads of two lives so carefully that when they meet, the fabric will hold for a lifetime. Imagine a tapestry being woven, not just your thread, not just theirs, but countless others that will touch, influence, and shape the two of you. And for such a pattern to emerge, it must be woven in the right order, in the right sequence, with no hurried stitches that might unravel later. Often, we are ready in one sense, but not in another. You may have the desire for love, but your spirit may still need to heal from old wounds. Or perhaps you have learned to love yourself, but your faith still needs to grow so that you can trust someone fully. And the same is true for them. God works in both hearts, refining character, building patience, nurturing understanding, because when love comes under his hand, it is not built for a fleeting season, but for an enduring covenant. Think of it like planting a seed. You do not dig it up every day to see if it has sprouted. You water it, give it sunlight, protect it from weeds, and trust the process happening beneath the soil. In the same way, God plants the seed of love in the right soil, in the right season, and it will push through to the surface at the appointed time. If you rush the seed, you weaken the plant. If you rush love, you weaken its roots. Sometimes God even allows you to cross paths with this person before the time is right, simply to place a whisper in your spirit that says, remember this one. You may not know why they stood out, why their presence felt familiar, why your heart seemed to pause when your eyes met. But that is the divine signature. It is the quiet promise that in his time, that connection will bloom into something far greater than you could arrange for yourself. And when the moment arrives, when the seasons align and then the courage is given, you will see how every delay was not a denial, but a careful preparation. You will look back and understand that the wait was not empty. It was filled with unseen arrangements, silent transformations, and divine orchestration so beautiful that it could only have been written by the author of life. So do not measure the journey by how quickly you arrive at the confession you expect. Measure it by how deeply God is working in you while you wait. For when his timing comes, it will be like the sudden opening of a flower that had been quietly forming for months, maybe years. And in that moment, you will know that this is not the result of chance, but of a love designed in eternity. Because the truth is, God's timing is never late. It is only waiting for the exact moment when both hearts are ready to say yes without fear and to mean it forever. There is something remarkable about the way God works in the unseen places of a person's heart. You cannot hear it, You cannot watch it unfold in real time, and yet it is happening quietly, steadily beyond your reach. While you go about your days, perhaps unaware, he is stirring thoughts, feelings, and longings in someone's spirit that point directly towards you. And here is the beautiful part. They may not even fully understand what is happening to them. All they know is that when they think of you, something within them feels settled, as though a puzzle piece has slipped into place. It's easy to imagine love as something sudden, a lightning bolt that strikes without warning. But more often, divine love begins as an ember rather than a blaze. God breathes on it slowly, letting it glow in the hidden corners of the heart until the time is right for it to burst into flame. And while you may not see the smoke, while you may not feel the warmth yet, that quiet fire could be burning for you at this very moment. Sometimes the person God has chosen for you is being prepared to recognize you, not just notice you. There's a difference. Many can notice your smile, your kindness, your voice, but recognition is deeper. Recognition is a soul level awareness that says, hey, it's you. It's an understanding that defies logic, as though they met you somewhere before time began. And God is the one who plants that recognition in the heart, but he often allows this recognition to grow in the dark like roots beneath the soil. The roots dig deep before they push anything above the surface. That's because love that lasts must be rooted before it blooms. And then those roots, mutual respect, shared values, unshakable trust, are being formed right now, often without your knowledge. God might be teaching them patience or showing them the beauty of commitment. He might be helping them heal from past heartbreak so that when they do step toward you, they step without fear of the past haunting their future. And isn't it amazing how God can intertwine paths long before either person realizes it? A shared friend, a passing encounter, a conversation you thought meant nothing. He can take the smallest seeds and let them grow into something vast. You may be living in what feels like ordinary days, but in their heart, God might be causing your name to echo softly until that echo becomes undeniable. This quiet work is often the hardest part for us to trust because we are so used to needing proof. We want to see evidence, hear the words, feel the touch. But God's way is to let the heart grow full before it speaks, so that when it does, it is overflowing. And when they finally confess what they feel, it will not be a shallow impulse. It will be the fruit of a season where God has shaped, refined, and confirmed their love for you in ways that go far beyond simple attraction. There is a kind of beauty in not knowing, because it forces you to trust that God's hand is moving even in the silence. Somewhere, someone could be walking through their day, feeling an inexplicable pull toward you, a stirring they can't yet name. And that stirring is not just emotion, it is divine alignment. When the time comes, you will see how all those unseen days were not empty at all. They were filled with God's craftsmanship, sculpting something that will one day step into the light and change both of your lives forever. For love prepared in secret is the kind that stands in the open without fear. There are moments in life when you begin to sense that something is shifting, though you can't quite explain it. A word here, a glance there, a strange series of coincidences that feel too deliberate to be random. These are often the subtle markers of God aligning two hearts. They are not loud announcements Not dramatic fireworks in the sky, more like gentle ripples on the surface of the water, hinting at a deeper current moving beneath. You may find yourself running into this person more often than seems reasonable. Perhaps your paths cross unexpectedly, as if life itself is nudging you into each other's orbit. Or you might notice that conversations flow with an ease you don't have to force, as though you've been speaking to one another for years. These moments are not accidents. They are small brush strokes in a larger painting. God has a way of weaving signs into the everyday. It might be that you share the same values without ever having compared notes. You may discover that your prayers are pointing in the same direction, that you dream about a similar future, that your hearts are drawn to the same kind of service or purpose in life. These are not just points of compatibility. They are threads being tied together by a hand greater than your own. And sometimes the signs are quieter still. It might be the way you feel a sense of peace in their presence, even in silence, or the way you think them at odd moments without knowing why, as though your spirits are gently tapping each other on the shoulder. You may not label it as love right away. It might just feel like familiarity, like safety. But that is often how divine alignment feels: steady, natural, without the strain of trying to make it happen. Of course, not every coincidence is a sign. The human heart can read in meaning into almost anything when it wants to, but the signs from God have a particular quality to them. They repeat without you chasing them. They bring clarity, not confusion. They leave you with a sense of calm expectancy, not frantic urgency. And the more you pay attention, the more you realize that these little patterns are building towards something larger. God works in layers. One sign might not mean much on its own, but when you begin to see the same truth echoed in different ways, through conversations, through scripture, through moments in prayer, you start to realize that He is pointing your heart in a specific direction, and He does the same for the other person without either of you fully knowing it. He is guiding you along parallel paths until they converge. Sometimes the alignment even involves obstacles. Maybe there were opportunities for you to connect earlier, but something always seemed to get in the way, and then suddenly doors begin to open. The timing shifts. The people around you begin to notice the connection and speak life into it. This is the rhythm of divine orchestration. The barriers fall away when the season is right. When two hearts are aligned by God, they don't have to fight their way toward each other. They are drawn together by a quiet pull that feels both mysterious and inevitable. And when they finally meet in the fullness of His timing, it feels less like a new beginning and more like a homecoming. So pay attention to the whispers, the nudges, the repeating patterns that keep bringing someone into your awareness. They may be the breadcrumbs of destiny, leading you to a love that has been in the making long before you realized it. For when God aligns two hearts, every step, every sign, every quiet moment becomes a piece of the story He is writing. And that story will always find its way to the page where your lives finally meet. Fear is a strange thing. It has a way of making us hesitate at the very threshold of the life we've been longing for. You can want something with every part of your being, and still, when it's standing right in front of you, your mind begins to whisper reasons to hold back. What if I'm not enough? What if they don't feel the same? What if I open my heart and it breaks again? These thoughts can keep a person from speaking what has been resting in their heart for far too long. But when God is in the middle of a love story, he doesn't just bring two people together. He also works to dismantle the walls between them. Sometimes what you interpret as delay is not hesitation about you, but a process of courage being built within them. God knows that for words of love to carry their full weight, they must be spoken from a place of freedom, not fear. You see, fear distorts timing. It convinces the heart to wait just a little longer, thinking it will feel more certain tomorrow. But love, especially love that is divinely inspired, grows restless in the shadows. And so God begins to work on that person's spirit. He stirs their confidence. He reminds them of your kindness, your steadiness, the way you bring peace rather than chaos. He helps them see that the risk of speaking is nothing compared to the risk of never telling you at all. And it's not only fear of rejection that holds someone back. It can be the fear of not living up to the love they feel. A good heart knows, as I said, saying, I love you is not just a confession, it's a promise. To protect, to cherish, to commit. God may be working in them to help them believe they can keep that promise, that they are ready to step into a future with you without being weighed down by past mistakes or lingering doubts. Sometimes fear wears the mask of practicality. They might tell themselves the timing isn't right, or I need to get my life together first. And while there's wisdom in wanting to be prepared, God has a way of revealing that love, when it is his will, is not something you must be perfect to receive. It's something you grow into together. And so, piece by piece, he dismantles the excuses until the voice of hesitation is quieter than the voice calling them forward. You might wonder why you're waiting, why the words you sense in their heart haven't yet made their way to their lips. But understand this. There is a holy boldness that God gives when it's time. And when it comes, it silences the tremors of fear with the certainty of his peace. You'll know the moment has arrived because the confession will not feel rushed or unsure. It will carry the kind of conviction that can only be born out of surrender. And here's the beauty: when fear is broken, love speaks differently. It's not a timid whisper, it's a steady truth. It's not dressed in conditions or wrapped in uncertainty. It simply says, this is what my heart knows, and I can't keep it inside any longer. So if you are in the waiting, do not see it as a void. See it as a transformation happening quietly on the other side. Someone is finding their voice, their courage, and their readiness, not in spite of God's timing, but because of it. For when love finally steps out from behind the curtain of fear, it does not creep into the light. It walks there boldly, ready to stay. When you think about receiving a confession of love, it's easy to imagine the other doing personing all the preparation, the planning of their words, the gathering of their courage, the moment they finally take that step. But there's another side to the story that's just as important: your readiness to receive what they're about to give. Because a confession of love, especially one that has been shaped in the hands of God, is not just words, it's an offering. And how you receive it can either nurture it into something lasting or cause it to retreat into silence. Sometimes we dream so much about love arriving that we forget to prepare ourselves for what happens when it does. If your heart is burdened by past wounds, you may hear their words through the filter of old pain. If you are caught in comparison or doubt, you might question their sincerity before you even give it space to grow. That's why God often works in you at the same time He's working in them, softening your heart, clearing away the clutter of fear, and teaching you how to hold something precious without crushing it under the weight of expectation. Preparation is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming open. It's about learning to listen with your heart as much as your ears. When love speaks, it doesn't always arrive in poetry or grand gestures. Sometimes it comes in the simplest words, spoken in a trembling voice, yet carrying a depth that can't be measured. If your mind is busy looking for the dramatic, you may miss the sacred in the ordinary. And being ready means understanding the responsibility that comes with being chosen. When someone tells you their heart has chosen you, they're placing a piece of themselves in your care. That's not something to take lightly. It's an act of trust, and trust is something that needs to be met with kindness, honesty, and clarity. Even if your answer is yes, the way you say it matters. It should affirm their courage, honor their vulnerability, and let them know their trust was not misplaced. God often prepares your heart by teaching you gratitude, not just for the love itself, but for the person who is offering it. Gratitude keeps love from becoming something we demand and instead turns it into something we cherish. When you approach their confession with gratitude, you see it not as something owed to you, but as a gift you've been entrusted with. And here's the truth: preparation also means having the discernment to test what you hear against the quiet knowing in your spirit. Not every confession is from God, and part of readiness is the wisdom to know the difference. If His peace is present, it will settle over you like still water. If His Spirit is aligning this connection, the words will resonate deep within you beyond mere emotion. Think of it like preparing a home for a guest you've longed to see. You clear the space, light the room, and open the door. You don't wait until they knock to begin tidying up. You prepare in faith, trusting they will come. In the same way, you prepare your heart, not because you're forcing love to arrive, but because you believe it is on its way in God's perfect timing. And when the moment does come, when they finally speak what God has placed in their heart, you will be ready, not surprised into silence, and not caught off guard by your own doubts, but standing in a place of peace, able to meet their courage with your own. For love that is prepared for is love that can be received without fear and kept without losing its wonder. When love finally arrives, real love, the kind that has been shaped in patience and prayer, it rarely feels like the noisy, dazzling thing we've been taught to expect. Instead, it often comes quietly, as though it has always belonged in your life. And yet, when you truly see it for what it is, you realize it is one of the most extraordinary gifts you will ever be given. Not because it completes you, you are already whole, but because it complements you in a way only God could have arranged. To receive love as a gift from Him means first recognizing that it is not something you earn, nor something you manipulated into existence. It is grace. It is the overflowing generosity of a God who delights in giving good things to His children. And like all gifts, it is meant to be treasured, not taken for granted. You don't leave it unopened. You don't keep it at arm's length. You receive it with the same joy and reverence as if it were a rare jewel placed in your hands. But here is where many stumble. We often think receiving love is passive, like standing still and letting it wash over us. In truth, it is active. It means choosing to make space for it in your life. It means welcoming the person God has brought to you, not just into your emotions, but into your daily rhythms, your decisions, your dreams. It means treating their heart as something you've been entrusted with, not something you own. God-given love is not fragile in the sense that it will break at the slightest difficulty, but it is precious. Precious things require care. You nurture by speaking truth, by showing kindness, by choosing patience even when it's easier to turn away. You protect it from bitterness, from pride, from the small selfish habits that erode trust. And you honor it by remembering where it came from, not your cleverness, not luck, but the intentional hand of the one who knew both of you before you knew each other. Receiving love from God also means holding it with humility. It's easy to let the ego creep in to think, I must be special for them to have chosen me. But the truth is deeper. You were not chosen because you are flawless. You were chosen because you are meant. And there is a sacred difference. Being meant for someone is about fit, purpose, and divine alignment. It's about how your strengths fill the spaces where they are weak and how their strengths do the same for you. And when you understand that this love is a gift, you stop needing to control it. You no longer grip it so tightly that you suffocate it, nor hold it so loosely that it slips away. You learn to walk with it, growing together, discovering new depths over time, trusting that the same God who brought it to you will sustain it. This kind of love changes how you see the world. Ordinary days begin to feel more meaningful. Small moments, a shared laugh, a quiet conversation, the comfort of their presence become the treasures you carry in your heart. And even in the challenges, you feel a steady undercurrent of gratitude because you know this is something rare, something not everyone gets to experience in this life. So when their confession finally comes and you receive their love into your life, let it remind you that you are seen by the one who made you, that he knows not only what you've been through, but also what your heart needs to flourish. And in this love, he is giving you a reflection, a glimpse of his own faithful, enduring heart. For love given by God is not just meant to be held, it is meant to be lived.